Hey, how's it going? Mr. Bill here today, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you a quick trick that I use sometimes to create generative glitch patterns. Basically this trick, it's really easy to create generative glitch patterns once you've done the setting up, but it's just the kind of setting up of it that needs to be done first to make it easy to mess around with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a drum rack in this MIDI channel here, so I'll just drag that into the MIDI channel, and then what I want to do is I want to fill it up with 127 different samples. So here on the drum rack we have like a selector, and that selects the view of the octave of samples that we're looking at, and I want to go right to the very bottom of that and then start dragging samples into it. And the samples that I'm going to drag into it are these ones that this guy just randomly emailed me one day, called Noise Drums Volume 2 by this guy called Nanoloop. So I'm going to go into the kick subs folder, and I'm just going to shift hold all these samples by clicking on the top one, holding shift, and then clicking on the bottom one and then dragging those in, and then do the same thing for the next folder, which is snare hits. I think all these samples are generated with a Game Boy or something like that. And then I'll do the same for the hats. Just get all of them, drag them in, and then we still have this little section up the top, so I'll select that section and then drop a couple of these toms in like that. So you can see that we've filled up the entire rack now with samples. And now what I want to do is I want to generatively trigger random samples in a rhythmic fashion. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go into the arrangement view here, and I'm going to create a MIDI clip. I'll just create random length, it doesn't matter because we can trim it later. So I'm just going to create this MIDI clip here, and then at every 16th note interval I want to create a MIDI note, but I want to create it one MIDI note higher than the previous. Therefore we have a bunch of clips that trigger a different sample in the rack. So the way I'm going to do that is by creating one MIDI note and then duplicating it with Command D and pressing the up arrow, and I'm going to do that until we have a bar worth of MIDI information like this, and then I'm going to duplicate that whole piece of information over and over again until we have the whole 127 notes filled up. So that's it, we have 127 notes there that we're going to cut into even clips so we can trigger all these samples separately in a generative rhythmic fashion. So I'm going to make the grid 16th notes because we made all the notes inside the clip 16th notes, and I want to chop all of these on a 16th note grid. So what I'm going to do here is click here and then press Command E to chop it into a new clip, and then press the right arrow to do it to the next note. And I'm going to continue doing this for each 127 notes, and it seems like a big job, but if you just keep pressing right and Command E to chop it into a new clip, you can get through it pretty quickly just doing this. Sweet, so we have 127 clips now with a note in each of these clips triggering a different sample. Now what I want to do is I want to take all of these clips, so I'm just going to cut them by pressing Command X, and then I want to go into this view and I want to paste them into the channel. And then what I want to do is select all of them. They're already all selected. You can see down here it says we have 128 clips selected. And then I want to go to this little L thing, which is like a launch section, which tells the clips how to launch and what to do. So we have this launch mode, which is like trigger, gate, toggle, and they're different methods of how you can play the clips. And then we have like a quantization, and that's like when they'll trigger, whether they'll trigger based on this global quantization up here or whether you give them an individual quantization. We're not interested in any of that stuff. We're just interested in this bottom section here that says follow action. And what this does is it tells the clip what to do after it's finished playing. So what I want to do is I want to put that on a really fast setting, so 0, 0, 1 bars. I think it's like a 32nd or a 64th note or something. And then I want to click this second box here and I want to select other. So basically what's happening here is after it's finished playing, after this amount of time, it's going to select another clip. If we select any, there's a chance it will select the same clip twice, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but personally I just want it to select another clip. I don't want it to ever select the same clip twice. And then underneath that we have like a ratio which says 1 to 0, and that just is like a chance thing. So basically 1 to 0 means there's a 100% chance of it doing this action after it's finished playing. So if I just play this first clip here, we'll hear it generate a glitch pattern. So if I turn the click on, it'll be rhythmic as well. So yeah, that's a little trick that I use sometimes to generate glitch patterns. I can't actually give you this rack because it has a bunch of samples in there that I think the guy's actually selling, but what I can do is I can upload the project just with these clips in it and an empty rack, and that way you can put whatever you want in this rack and create your own glitch patterns that way. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that trick, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me at mrbill@mrbillstunes.com. Cheers.